Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
With just a few days to go for Election Day in the US, there are 5 main issues weighing on the minds of Americans. In Delhi to DC today, we unpack these issues, which are the COVID-19 pandemic, economy and job losses, race, healthcare, and of course, the US Supreme Court. First up is COVID-19. Right now, the US is the worst hit country in the world with over 225,000 deaths and around 70,000 new infections per day. President Trump, who recently contracted the virus, has been criticized for his handling of the pandemic, his stance on face masks, and holding large, crowded political rallies ahead of the election. On the other hand is Biden, who intends to put a national mask mandate in place if elected, and has stressed on the need for a clearer strategy on testing and tracing COVID cases. The pandemic has also led to a larger discussion on mail-in voting, with some people fearing they could catch the virus at the polling booth and others afraid of having their ballot lost in the mail. Americans are also worried about the economy, which has been disrupted due to COVID. Consumer demand and economic activity have taken a blow due to quarantine, unemployment, business closures, and millions of job losses.
Just looking at this pandemic, you definitely saw that, inequities, correct?
Yes, that too.
How did that affect where you're from and what you saw?
The pandemic, actually a lot of people in my family lost their jobs. So that we were part of the recession. There's a lot of things that was going on. It's hard for me to come to school because of that too. We had to pull up scholarships, couldn't come out of pocket too much. Stuff like that.
The US has so far experienced 2 consecutive quarters of a decline in GDP. In the second quarter of 2020, it recorded a 9.1% decline. And as American research group Brookings points out, the country has never recorded a quarterly GDP drop greater than 3%. However, there are some Americans who feel the economy could have been worse off.
What is the biggest factor in you making your decision on who you're going to vote for?
The economy. The economy. All of it. It's all about the economy. Talked to some friends that are Democrats, and it seems to me that they're making their decision based on his personality more than anything, more than policies and the economy. And through this whole COVID thing, the economy should have tanked, honestly, with everything, and it hasn't. And we're still going strong. I'm in the excavation and building business, and it's booming because of his policies. So.
Then again, there are some Americans who argue that Trump is only helping the rich.
I think the economy is a huge deciding factor for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people who believe in Trump and vote for Trump, economy is their first priority. And I think unless they're billionaires or multimillionaires, they're being duped because his policies are not helpful to the common person. The tax laws are, that he talks about Biden's tax laws not being fair and taxing people, but that's only after $400,000. I don't know a lot of people that make over $400,000. That's, the top 1%. So for every other person, like just the layman, most of his base is not going to benefit from it and has not benefited from it, and I don't understand how they think they have.
In May this year, a black man named George Floyd died after a police officer kneeled on his neck for about 8 minutes. The incident sparked violent protests across the US, looting of businesses, and President Trump's intention to bring in the US military to quell protests caused further chaos. Therefore, race has also become a big issue ahead of the election.
Well, I look back in the period where Dr. King was assassinated, where Kennedy was assassinated, and after that, we got over that. During that period, I didn't see and hear a lot of what I'm hearing now. This is different. America is in need of heart surgery.
Despite President Trump's claims that he has done more for black people since Abraham Lincoln, not everyone is convinced.
People who say they're not racist to vote for him, they're obviously racist because they're willing to overlook the racism in chase of whatever aim they think they want from him.
Healthcare is another issue on the cards. There is a lot of discussion around Obamacare, or what is known as the Affordable Care Act, which has made affordable health insurance widely available, among other things. The Trump administration has been trying to repeal Obamacare, without which could adversely affect access to healthcare for people with serious comorbidities like heart disease and diabetes. Also, women's rights when it comes to abortion has become another talking point. Listen to how one woman with an autoimmune disorder fears how her life could be affected by the election.
I have an autoimmune disorder and have been sick for 10 years. My mom's had a kidney transplant. I have been to the best specialist in America, honestly, and they don't know what's wrong with me. And for someone to take COVID the way that it's been taken and to have a lack of empathy and not take science seriously when that's been like a guiding factor in every medical decision in the US in the last at least 100 years. I can't go forward with that. 210,000 plus people have died and nothing has changed in the last 8 months.
Now the US Supreme Court. After the death of US Supreme Court judge and liberal icon Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Republican Party pushed the nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to replace her, and she was confirmed on Monday. There are fears that Barrett could tilt the balance of the Supreme Court, with Democrats pointing to her Christian upbringing and conservative background. Democrats had insisted the nomination take place after the presidential election rather than before. The issue has made Americans worry for the future of their democracy, especially after Trump admitted that he would prefer a conservative majority in the top court should any election dispute arise.
I also think that, especially with the recent passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, we do need to ensure that we have a justice on the Supreme Court that will actually uphold democracy and our ideals and everything and civil liberties. So I do think that for that reason I will be voting. I will be actually going out and expressing my voice and everything.
When Obama was president, he wanted to appoint a judge, but Republicans argued that it should be done after the election. Now Republicans have changed their stance.
Just about 4 years ago, when Obama nominated Merrick Garland for the Supreme Court, you had Mitch McConnell block that vote. And I think, you're looking at it right now, just, it's a flip on that. You had Mitch McConnell, Ted Cruz, just about every Republican coming on, just about every network, not every network, but Fox News more than anything else, stating that it's an election year and you should let the people decide. But now it's on the other side of it, the aisle, and now they're pushing whoever their conservative person to be to vote on. So I think that's we just see it's devastating to me.
There you have it, the top 5 issues ahead of the US elections. For ThePrint, this is Krishnankutty. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Delhi to DC. For more, do visit ThePrint.in and follow us on social media.